The Central Division.
What's up, guys? Second episode, first pairing D, Central Division. We're gonna go ahead and kick it off with most recent Stanley Cup champions, Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, the one-time Stanley Cup champions. I don't think they're repeating at all.
I don't think they'll repeat, but I do think that they are gonna have a pretty competitive follow-up.
I
They
think they're
still,
going to lose to Edmonton in whatever round they meet them in.
I mean, they still have that very good first line. Now they do have to worry about re-signing McKinnon at the end of this year, and that supposedly would be the most expensive contract in NHL history.
And is he worth it? I say no. If it is the supposed 13 million,
Yeah, if it's right about 13 or 13 and a half million, do I really think that McKinnon is worth that? No.
because what does Huberdeau make? Like, I
And
don't.
a half.
Yeah, and has he scored 100 points? Yes. Has McKinnon? No.
No. I mean, McKinnon has a cup and Huberdeau doesn't, but at the same time, like, I mean, do I think? I mean, I gotta say, I think that McKinnon's beast mode, like just his ability to just drive to the net, it's top five for sure. But I would not say he's better than McDavid though.
No.
McDavid makes 12 and a half.
I wouldn't even say he's better than Barkov.
Yeah, I just can't see it. But that
Even
aside,
he's better defensively than Ovechkin, but when it comes to just straight attack, I think even at like 50 years old, Ovi is better too.
well, and then just like look at what they lost. They lost Burkowski. They lost Kadri. Apparently, Kadri did want to sign with them, but they weren't willing to give him the term that he wanted.
Yeah, because they need to sign Nathan McKinnon to his like $37 million deal,
Um,
and of course they lost Darcy Kemper.
they lose Darcy Kemper. I mean, JT Compher or Alex Newhook as a second line center, I don't have a lot of confidence in.
No.
Um, and I mean, Arturi Lehkonen, the fact that they were able to keep him, pretty solid because he's just a really solid middle six guy. I think they're really going to be banking on Alex Newhook to really fill that gap because now their depth is starting to look a little more suspect. But on the back end, though, you still have Makar and Taves. Bowen Byram, I mean, he's starting to kind of, in the playoffs, Byram really started to break out into his own. Um, and they still have EJ after all these years.
Yeah, but their defense went from top three to 32nd, of course, with the loss of Jack Johnson.
Well,
They'll never recover from that.
I mean, Jack Johnson is on another team that's on this list that is going to be, let's
Excellent.
face it, garbage.
Well, they have
But
Jack Johnson. They can't be garbage.
we'll get to that later.
He's the
I mean,
best
Francouz,
defenseman in NHL history.
no. I mean, Francouz, a good goalie, but not starter potential, and he's 32. And getting Georgiev, yeah, Georgiev, pretty good in New York, but I think he will probably play better behind the defense that Colorado has, but
My
not
uh,
Darcy Kemp.
my all-time favorite Georgiev moment is when he was in New York, and he had a really bad day. He let in like 7 goals, and someone just tweeted, "Bye bye, Grogyov." Like they horribly butchered his name, and that's my favorite Georgiev moment.
Grogyov.
It was something like that. It was really bad.
That's It's really terrible.
but it made me like cackle laugh, and I'll never forget it. Of course, they did keep Manson and Lekanen too, though. So like, they still have a decent team. They still have a
Yeah,
playoff
well,
team, but they don't. I don't think they have another cup team.
I was about to say, I think that Manson is is a good keep, especially considering the sort of physical element he brings. But yeah, yeah, I don't really like their forward core, other than that first line. Really, it just looks
Well,
like a kind of a watered down core.
well, don't you worry because it's gonna change since they only have 14 million and sorry 4 million, and McKinnon wants more than that. So somebody's gotta go.
Yeah, well, we'll have to. I guess we'll have to wait and see who gets the boot. But now going from, I still see them as probably one of the top two teams in the division, at least for the regular season. But looking to the opposite end of the standings, we're going to look at the Blackhawks.
What, Shakutami?
Yeah, Chicago, who has the excellent first line of Kane, Taves, and Lucas Reichel.
Yeah, Shakutami's looking rough. They're in rebuild mode, and Taines and Cave, and and
Canes and Taves.
and Taves and Kane probably don't want to experience rebuild mode at the age of 77.
To be fair, though, this is the last year of both of their contracts. I think they get the hell out of Dodge at the end of the year. If they make it, they might get traded.
Yeah, they might be like deadline flips.
They have to have a lot of their salary retained, but it's possible. And then they grabbed Andreas Athanasiou. Yeah, he was with the Kings last year, and at times Athanasiou really could show like moments of brilliance, but he couldn't stay healthy last year. And of course they get Domi, and they still have Tyler Johnson. But other than that, it's just kind of bottom six.
Yeah, but they
Decent.
have Jack Johnson, who is
Well,
going to lead them to another cup.
their defense is looking pretty brutal.
My biggest question though is genuinely what is their goal this season? I
I think their goal is Connor Bedard.
but they also have only 7 million in cap space, and that's not great for a rebuild team.
No, but because right now, if you look at their roster, they've got a lot of just like semi-replacement level players. It's Sam Lafferty, Jujar Kara, Colin Blackwell, and then even like their fourth line, Entwistle, Kurashev, and even Taylor Radish. Taylor Radish is still fairly young. That whole fourth line is fairly young, but still. And then Jake McCabe and Seth Jones. Boy, his contract aged like cheese within like a year. And everyone knew it was going to happen. But I think he's got to kind of redeem himself. He had 51 points last year, which I admit, with only 5 goals, it's not great. But putting that up on the team that they had is still impressive. But he still managed to be a minus 37.
Yeah, Shakutami is looking rough.
I think for them, they're just kind of hoping that their prospects that they do have start to become something, and then obviously they can start restocking a little bit. And they got Colton Dock, who was Kirby's brother, I believe. And trading Kirby Dock for that first rounder, that was kind of a weird move, especially since he was only drafted 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's a bad move.
Yeah. I think it was just giving up on him a little bit too soon, but
Like,
I mean,
you starting a rebuild and you don't want Kirby Doc? Okay.
because now they don't really have that centerpiece to build around. But um, to think about it, like, will they be last in the division?
I
Maybe
hope
not
not.
last. Maybe not last, but second to last. Yeah, I don't see them being anywhere higher than seventh. But no, they'll just have to suffer through this one. But looking to one of their sort of rivals, I suppose, that had kind of a mediocre offseason, really. I mean, Dallas has some cap space, 10 million, but
That's probably all going to go to Jason Robertson.
but you see, that's the thing for Dallas right now. Neither Robertson or Ottinger have signed. They're both RFAs right now. And which means somebody has to get moved, or somebody has to take a bridge deal. When I say someone has to get moved, you move someone else to make space for one of them, but like, what does a bridge deal for someone like Robertson or Ottinger look like?
I think you would give it to Otter because he's a goalie, and goalies are unpredictable and nebulous.
I mean, that's the safe option, but like, he had 48 games played. He won 30 of them. 2.53 GAA and a 914 save percentage. I mean, for being 23, it's pretty good.
Yeah, he was. I still believe he should have won the Conn Smythe Award. He was electric.
Ottinger?
Yeah.
No, no,
I
no, no. Talking about in 2020?
yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, hang on a second. They didn't make it to the final last year.
Or not the final. Like I know they got dumped early, but that wasn't Ottinger's fault. The kid played his ass off.
Yeah.
And even in that early exit, I think I would have still given him the Conn Smythe.
Uh, I don't think I could say that, but I think if they had made it to the final, even if they'd lost, I could definitely see it. There's a couple times in the past few years I've legitimately thought that a losing player could win the Conn Smythe. Obviously hasn't happened. But, I mean, their season pretty much completely rides on Jamie Benn and Tyler Sagan not being hot garbage.
Yeah, like Otter should keep this up. That like I think they have a good stop behind them. I think Jason Robertson, to me, is the most electric and most exciting player to watch in the entire league. But Sagan and Ben were kind of crap, and they need to be not that if they want to compete at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say it's kind of worrisome seeing Rupe Hint being their first line center. Or, I mean, second line, but I don't see him as that kind of talent. He was very good last year playing with Robertson. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it's
Like
because he
playing
was
with
playing with
Robertson,
Robertson.
I was about to say playing with Robertson gave him a lot better chances.
That's a
A lot.
40 goal scorer. Yeah.
Well, and Rope Hintz had 37 last year. Even Joe Pavelski, who's 38, had 81 points last year. Again, playing with Jason Robertson, being on that power play with them. But they did pick up Mason Marchment. I think that'll help them.
Yeah, he's another good goal scorer. But it
At
really,
least 20.
I'm a big fan of Scott Wedgwood too. I'm glad he got a deal. I really hope he gets consistent NHL time.
Yeah, well, I mean, because Jake Ottinger probably isn't ready to play 60 games a year, so you give Scott Wedgwood, 30.
And I think he proved himself in Arizona on a very bad team. He was still, letting him compete every night.
Yeah.
At least,
Then
most nights.
I think their defensive core here is not as good as it was. I mean, Miro Heiskanen's Miro Heiskanen. He's going to be good. Ryan Suter is obviously mega grandpa, 37.
Klingberg is gone.
Yeah, but you got Essa Lindell, who's been serviceable, but he's getting up there in age a little bit. 28. Yanni Hakanpää.
I mean, he's
Yeah,
just physical.
physical presence. Oh, there we go. They're predicting a rookie season, or well, yeah, he'd still qualify as a rookie based on how he played last year. Depends on how many he played the year before, but got a Thomas Harley, our 2020-2021 Upper Deck card hero. Really used to be able to pull a bunch of that guy's rookie cards.
I don't remember ever getting one of his rookie cards.
I know, but like Ziri, I think, pulled a bunch of his cards.
Shout out you, guy he just said.
Yeah, Ziri, very good card channel. Recommend it if you haven't checked it out before. You can really tell the guy loves what he does and loves his hobby.
To all 2 people that watch this video.
Let's see. As far as prospects go for Dallas, I mean, they've got Logan Stankoven.
Stankoven. He's stanky.
Other than that, I'm not seeing a whole lot. I think Christian Cairo. I wonder if that's Jordan's brother. Defenseman though.
Yeah, I mean, their prospects kind of were just Otter and Robertson, and now they're 2 very, top 15 players in their categories.
I mean, I'm seeing some relatively high drafted players in recent drafts in their prospects here. You just kind of got to see how they turn out, I guess, because none of them were drafted super high. But
Yeah, that's about it for them. Just Sagan and Ben. It's up to you guys. So, step it up.
then we're gonna head east a little bit with our buddies in Nashville. Who, by the way, they need to bring back the meth tiger this year with that reverse retro.
They definitely do.
Because if they don't, it's laughable.
He kind of looks like Ryan McDonough, their newest addition.
What? Who does?
The meth. The meth.
Like Ryan McDonough?
They're both very lumpy.
Lumpy.
Have you Ryan McDonough is a lumpy faced man.
I'm not gonna disagree that he's a little lumpy looking, but
He's not a little lumpy looking. He's very lumpy looking.
okay, so let's take Nashville here. They've got kind of an older first line. Matt Duchene, Mikhail Granlund, Philip Forsberg.
Listen,
It's not a terrible first line.
I think Nashville is bad. I think Roman Yossi is good, and UC Saros is good, and that they're only going to make the playoffs because the Central sucks.
Yeah, I think there's a point to be had here that people always say that the Pacific is a weak division, and I'll admit we got some kind of bottom feeder teams right now, but I really think we're about to see the Central Division start to take a little bit of a dive.
Yeah.
It's like we see what happened to Chicago. Arizona's towards the bottom. Nashville, I don't know if they'd make the playoffs in every division.
I don't think... No, they wouldn't. They'd make the
Obviously,
playoffs in, like, 1967 when, like, 2 teams missed.
I mean, obviously, like Yossi, even Duchesne and Forsberg all had pretty damn good years last year, all scoring 80-plus points.
But this is not the Nashville of 2016 by a lot.
Oh no. And I mean, they have some younger players like Ely Tolvanen in there. Tanner Jeannot had a really good year last year. But then you got like Cody Glass, who I think Vegas moved on from him because they didn't see anything going on and didn't do a whole lot in Nashville.
Yeah.
Dante Fabro, again, serviceable, good, but hasn't been anything super special.
That's kind of Nashville as a whole. Serviceable, good. They'll win more games than they'll lose, probably. But by like 3 and get a wild card spot.
Yeah, and again, same kind of thing. It's kind of like Dallas. They have some prospects that aren't not bad. I mean, they have Joachim Kemmel. Some sort of big name prospects, but the rest of them are all just kind of like somewhat high drafted. Some of them weren't, and some of them may never play.
No. I don't know. I wouldn't mind Yossi having another Norris caliber season, though. He's always been fun to watch.
Yeah, a quick note. Like, honestly, I think Yossi should have won the Norris this past year.
Oh, definitely. But Makar's got star power now.
Yeah, he's got recognition to his name, and Yossi does. But I mean, I think Yossi, especially on a worse team, that was more impressive. So kind of going from one mediocrity to another potential mediocrity, the Jets.
Well, speaking of awards, before that, actually, don't forget that Shesterkin should have won MVP. I'm looking at you, NHL awards.
It went to Matthews, didn't it?
I think so.
Matthews won the Hart and the Lindsay, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I did not see Austin Matthews winning the Hart.
No, Shesterkin put up numbers that were, like, some of the best we've ever seen from a goalie.
Well, certainly some of the best we've seen in the last decade, but it's crazy to say that now, but
I think a 935 was like the NHL record save percentage. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's...
I don't think he set a record, but I think he tied a record.
Yeah.
Kind of taking a look at the Jets. I don't have a whole lot of cap space to work with. But Scheifele, Connor, and Wheeler, even though he's getting a bit older, they all are still very capable of putting up some good points. I mean, Kyle Connor had 93 last year, 47 goals.
I don't have a lot to say about Winnipeg. It's kind of like Nashville to me. Well, they're better than Nashville.
They have more scoring power.
Yeah, but at the same... Like, they're a playoff team. They're not going to go deep. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, and they have a good goalie.
They have a good goalie. Hellebuck is, I think, top 5 goalies, and then David Riddick. It's kind of a crapshoot. What'll happen with him any given night.
Yeah, I mean, he was good a few years ago. Kind of took a little bit of a tumble.
I
And
do love him though. He seems like a glorious man.
yeah, as a person, great.
He's pretty funny.
But, like, Winnipeg's defense is kind of suspect. I mean, Morrissey and DeMello, Sandberg, Neil Pionk. Neil Pionk's been okay. Nate Schmidt, that should help a little bit. He was okay last year. Yeah, they're just really not that special. Did draft Chaz Lucius, though, 2021.
Yeah, they're not very exciting, but they're solid, and I think they're a playoff team.
I mean, Kyle Connor's very dynamic, and it's fun watching him.
Yeah.
But you got guys like Billy Hanola, Chaz Lucius, a couple guys like that that are going to be probably pretty good. Oh, they drafted Brad Lambert, so they've got some pretty big players coming up here. But you just kind of got to wait and see.
We forgot Vegas in the last episode, so we should probably put them in now.
Did we forget Vegas?
Well, I hate them, so.
I mean, I don't hate them, but yeah, okay. Let's
So, quick addendum to episode 1.
yeah, we'll go ahead and fill that in here. Let's just say the biggest thing with Vegas is their financial problems.
Well, their financial problems and the fact that they traded away all their prospects.
Yeah, although keep in mind though that it says minus 8 million in cap space, but Shea Weber's contract is almost 8 million, and when that LTIR kicks in, that'll fix a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, they got all these great fundamental players that, were clicking well together, and they made it to the cup final, and then the management immediately thought, oh, we're good. We can win now. We need to win now. And then they didn't. And
Well,
they're suffering for that now.
I've heard that a lot of that pressure came from ownership. Like Bill Foley kind of followed the same idea that the original Flyers ownership wanted. Like, we are going to win a cup in the first 6 years. Like, at this point, that's not going to happen.
No. I don't think Vegas even makes the playoffs.
I mean, because obviously they have Eichel, and I think Eichel is capable of being game breaker still. But Stone, if Stone is healthy, puts up a lot of points. They still have the original misfit line on the second line. They're able to keep them together.
Yeah, I could see Stone, Eichel, and Kessel potentially being a fun top line.
Yeah, because then you can put Chandler Stevenson. I don't know. They've been playing Chandler Stevenson on the first line a lot. But if they had Nick Waugh, who by his own right has been a pretty decent third liner, and Kessel, but they're going to really have to rely on guys like Jake Decision, who was one of their own draft picks. Man, when they traded Pacioretty and they had to give up Dylan Coghlan, that hurt. Zach Whitecloud's been okay, and
Fleury leaving felt like a betrayal, and
yeah, and then Nick Hague, he's been decent for them.
the whole Dadonov situation was just screwed up too.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing. Like, they could have done it right, and the management just didn't do that.
We don't need to ask Evgeny.
I think we are going to see a few more of Vegas's drafted players start to come into play. Paul Cotter's another one we could see. And Miramanov, he's another defenseman we could see potentially. Other than that, like Brendan Brisson, Zach Dean, some of those guys they've drafted in the late first round, they got to start playing those guys if they want to be cap compliant in the next few years, and they want to actually have some ability to compete for the future. Because they didn't have a first rounder this year. So if they miss the playoffs again, I guess this year they have a first rounder, but
I think it's more the case of when they miss the playoffs again.
I think if their team stays healthy, I think they make the playoffs, but I don't know how well they would actually do in the playoffs.
I don't think they make it at all.
I don't know. We'll kind of have to see. I think their ability to make the playoffs kind of depends on Calgary a little bit, where Calgary ends up. But so let's see. I guess sort of jump back into the Central a little bit.
Yeah, St. Louis.
I was about to say St. Louis. You just read my mind there.
And that's also on the page in my notes, so I can just check them off conveniently.
So St. Louis, still a pretty competitive team.
They lost Ville Husso and replaced him with Tomas Greiss, and added Nick Leddy.
Yeah, which neither of those are huge.
I would say losing Ville Husso is kind of huge. That man put up amazing numbers.
Oh, but I'm saying as far as their additions, I don't think their additions move the needle that much. I mean, they do have Scott Perunovich who can play in the NHL some. He played okay last year. As far as their prospects, they do have one of the better named prospects, Jimmy Snuggerud.
That is a pretty good name.
They've still got Zachary Bolduc, they drafted in 2021. So they've got some guys that might be able to come up and play on cheap contracts pretty soon here. Other than that, still just kind of a good old-fashioned play hard, score how you can Central Division team.
I do think Robert Thomas is a superstar now, though, officially.
77 points in 72 games. I think Robert Thomas is the future for them.
He's a lot of fun. That's all I have to say about St. Louis.
Yeah, there's not too much else to say other than that I think they'll still make the playoffs. I don't really think they're cup contenders anymore.
No, but they're just what they always are, just a good, solid team.
Yeah, and maybe they could surprise people. Maybe they make it the second round or conference final. But then one of their direct competitors, we got the Wild.
The Winnebago Wild. Yeah, the Wild are the bane of my existence.
Why do you say that?
Did you watch literally any of the games they played against Arizona?
No, I didn't, but I've seen plenty of the games they played against the Kings in the past few years, and Kaprizov gave me nightmares for a while.
Yeah, I know Arizona's been bad lately, but they've been competitive with the other teams except Boston. They're not competitive against Minnesota. And it shows.
Because let's just take a second to look here. Kaprizov, 108 points, 47 goals. Not surprising. He managed to get Ryan Hartman, who's been like a career third line kind of guy, to 65 points with 34 goals. You can get Ryan Hartman to be a 34 goal scorer. That's a pretty good mark.
Yeah, as much as they dislike him, I'd put him right behind Jason Robertson as the most fun player to watch.
I mean, he won the Calder, and what I'm sure is a contentious decision. But now, I think after that first line, it leaves some things to be desired, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Joel Eriksson Ek has been a good two-way forward. No debate about that, but he's probably good for maybe 50 points. Jordan Greenway, kind of a disappointing year. Let's see. Oh, okay. What Minnesota's probably really looking out for, though, Matt Boldy and Marco Rossi.
I have Marco
Boldy,
Rossi on my fantasy team, so I'm rooting for him too.
Matt Boldy did play in the NHL a little bit last year, and he did pretty damn well. 39 points, 47 games. Rossi, obviously, hadn't really played in the NHL that much. But,
I don't think he did at all, actually. Or if it was like 2 games.
that's what it's saying here, 2 games.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know that. But Minnie's defense, I mean, Jacob Middleton, meh. Spurgeon. Brodeen's always been a good two-way guy.
They did get Tyson Jost, so that's something.
Yeah, I don't, he's good, but not a huge needle mover. They did sign Alex Goligoski. I mean, he's 37. He's kind of a grandpa, but
He's a Minnesota boy. They gave him a cheap deal to stay.
yeah, I think he'll still be good for that. And then they have Fleury, who
Just
I think
37
Fleury-
years old.
yeah, he's old, but he had okay numbers last year, playing 56 games.
And a lot of that was with Shikutami.
But, finish with a 908 in 56 games and still have 28 wins. Considering that he played on Chicago, is good.
Oh, yeah. Before we move on to the last Central team, though, we once again forgot Vegas.
What about Vegas?
Robin Leonard.
You're right, him being out.
Him being potentially done with his, like, his career might be over.
And they've got Logan Thomas and Laurent Brossoit.
Uh,
By the way,
because-
Laurent, if you're watching, shout out to you.
Oh, yeah, we're huge fans.
If you ever see this, definitely shoot us an email. We got our email in the not in the description, sorry, but on our channel page. Love to have a meet and greet.
Yeah, we would adore to come by and grovel at your feet to sign some stuff for us. But yeah, Leonard, not only is he out for probably the season, but today, Jesse Granger said that he's having double hip surgery.
Yeah.
So he might actually be out for his career at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, and especially since I want to say he's 29 or somewhere between 29 and 31. Right, that really, especially at that age, that actually could be the end.
And as much as I hate Vegas, it would be a shame if he went out like that.
It would. And I bet they wish they had Fleury still, but
Yeah.
but also Logan Thompson, I think he played well last year, and I think he'll excel with the role, but I just don't think he's ready to be a starter.
No. Wish him all the best, though. I hope he does good.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against him, and we got his Young Guns card, and
I do hope Laurent Brossoit does better than him, though, because I am a huge fan. Once again, Laurent, I love you.
yeah, well, we always want to see him do well. I mean, been watching him at least since the Winnipeg days. So, a quick note about Minnesota. The other thing, they don't have a huge set of rookies other than the two we mentioned. Technically, he's not a rookie now, but actually, I don't know. I think he would be with the games played. But Kalen Addison.
Kalen Addison, if you're watching this, please shave the mustache.
I was about to say the mustache is not good. Although Minnesota does have one of the best goaltending prospects in the league. They've got Jesper Wallstedt. I kind of wish the Kings would have taken a few years ago, but okay.
Yeah.
Then our final team.
The other bane of my existence.
Arguably the team that has the best odds at Connor Bedard,
I hope so.
the Arizona Coyotes, the Coyote.
As Oliver Ekman Larson liked to call him.
Oliver Ekman versus uh,
Why
you
does
can't
like
go.
Landeskog not have an accent, but OEL is like the most Swedish man on earth?
Yeah, it is kind of could just absolutely pass as American.
Yeah.
And then OEL sounds like a woman sometimes in the way that he. Yeah. Um. So Arizona, kind of brutal looking, but hard to go wrong with Keller, Kraus. I mean, hard to say no to those guys.
Yeah, Keller, Crush, Smoltz, and Fisher, they're the core of this team going forward. They will be the veterans.
I mean, Jack McBain and Nathan Smith, those being some of those trades and ELCs and stuff that they signed. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do. 22 and 23 years old, respectively.
Yeah, they played well at the end of last year. Hopefully they can keep that up. But if they can't, we have, fortunately, a pretty strong depth pool.
Yeah, well, I think Costas Bear is trade bait this year.
Unfortunately, yeah. As much as I enjoy him, he's probably gonna be a new like second round pick for Billy.
Yeah, I think Costas Bear probably gets traded. I've seen a couple rumors saying that Jacob Chikrin's supposed to be traded before training camp, but I mean,
No.
that's literally like 2 weeks away.
Yeah, and like there's so many freaking fake rumors saying like, oh, Arizona's desperate to trade him. They need to do it. Ooh, Chikrin said he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He didn't. He never said that. Ottawa, shut up. Okay? He's not yours. He's not going to be yours. And we don't need to get rid of him. Stop it.
I was gonna say they don't need to at all. They've got enough picks and some pieces to sort of work with. But I mean, would I blame him if he didn't want to be part of a rebuild? No, but he's 24, and they're about to have Logan Cooley in a couple of years. They've got, what is it, Dylan Gunther.
They have Dylan Gunther. J.J. Moser just came in after being drafted, put up excellent AHL numbers. They promoted him, and that's been that. He's been very good.
He did well in his roughly half season. I do want to say they do need to see some more out of Victor Soderstrom.
I don't know. It's only been like a year. He's got time.
I mean, he's 21, but he played 16 games last year and had 0 points. I mean, he has some time, but
I'd
you
say
want to see more.
I mean, I do want to see more from him, but I'd say that Barrett Hayton is the one that needs to step it up now.
Yeah, but 24 points in 60 games. It's not great for being a 5th overall pick, but it's still putting points up.
I think even if he's not a point scorer, he'll probably take over that Connor Garland role. Just, getting obnoxious.
Becomes a utility for like that Swiss Army knife kind of guy.
Besides that, though, I like Prosvetov, too. He's got good potential. He's not ready yet.
No, and I think if they feel like he's not up to the backup role in any way, you bring up John Gillies, you just got to deal with it.
And I mean, even if John Gillies is bad, it's Bedard time, so that's fine. I like Karel Vejmelka a lot, though. I think he's fun. He plays excellent against Canadian teams, which is pretty rad.
I also completely forgot that Arizona has Connor Geeky.
Yeah, we just drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing that they just drafted him. Was that the pick that they got that in a trade, didn't they? It was
I think
spot
so.
11.
Yeah. They had 3 first-round picks. It was Logan Cooley, Connor Geeky, and Maverick Lemery.
Yeah, Lamoureux, because they signed two of the 3 of them.
They signed all 3.
Okay, they did.
Yeah.
I don't see a contract listed for Cooley.
Oh no, no, yeah, you're right. He's gonna be in a play in college.
Yeah, and then
Lamoureux's
they've
probably in Tucson, and I think the hope is that Connor Geeky gets NHL time, but he'll probably be in Tucson too.
he and Maverick, they're both only 18.
Yeah, Maverick, he's just huge.
Although, if they're both from the CHL, they both got to go back to the CHL, though.
Oh, okay. Well, Lamoureux
Josh,
probably goes back to that. I think Geeky might make the team, but it kind of depends.
and I think maybe another few years, and you might see someone like Josh Doan make the team.
Josh Stone, I would love to see Liam Kirk too, but I doubt it. The one I really want to see is Boko Omama. I feel like he's earned a spot at this point, and in 4 NHL games last season, he had a goal, his first career goal.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool.
And,
If they gave him a shot.
well, and
It's not
honestly,
like they're competitive.
yeah, I mean, they added Zach Cassie, and that was their big ad.
Excuse you. We also had Nick Bjugstad and Troy Stetcher.
Bugstad. I mean, Bugstad is it's not bad. He's a fourth liner. Troy Stetcher, having actually watched him play in LA in person, I mean, he's a good, like, kind of like bottom pairing guy. I'll give him that for sure. And I'd love to see him succeed.
And also John Gillies was a free agent signing.
You know, John, if you ever find this, good luck to you.
We don't dislike you as a person, but you're bad.
Yeah, you've had a rough career, dude.
Maybe it's time to retire, John.
I mean, he's fine in the minors, but
You know, go to Europe. You'll be a star there.
I mean, you look at his NHL numbers, they're not good, but in the minors, he's fine.
Go to Japan. You'll be like the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I'd say that Coyotes, it's gonna be rough, but I still think that they'll have some bright spots with some of the young players.
Oh yeah, it's all about development, and Andre Tourigny, he's got a long leash. There's
Yeah.
no expectation.
Oh no, like if they fired him, that would be more shocking than if he was around for the next 6 years.
I mean, yeah, unless he like called Boko a slur or something.
Yeah, or if he decided to like bench somebody stupidly. But
But
alright,
that's not gonna happen. So yeah.
oh no. Well, that does it for the second video, Central Division.
I'm gonna double check
Well,
so we don't have another Vegas moment.
yeah, we we just have to add Vegas, but be sure.
Yes, that's all of them.
Yeah, let's say definitely be sure to check out our next one, guys. We're going to be doing the Metro Division.